The Bloemfontein Magistrate Court will continue hearing closing arguments in the bail application of 5 men arrested in connection with Thabo Bester's prison escape. The matter was rolled over to today after the defense argued that their clients are not flight risks.
The court was also assured that the group will not interfere with witnesses if they are granted bail. Former G4S employee Senohe Matsoara and his co-accused all face charges of corruption, fraud and defeating the ends of justice.
Let's get you the latest on this now. Mnisi, live to us from Bloemfontein. He's been watching the story for quite some time now. And Linda, I wonder if there's any telling whether we'll finally get any outcome today around this bail application.
Well, Amanda, today we're expecting the closing arguments to conclude. You'll remember that they started yesterday, and because there were certain elements that needed to be cleared, or at least the court needed to hear, it then requested the defense to respond to the state's submissions to the court, and therefore, due to time constraints and the number of legal representatives in this matter, it wouldn't be accommodated, or it wasn't accommodated yesterday, and therefore it resulted in the adjournment and the matter being rolled over to today. So today we're expecting the proceedings to be quite short, with the defense also, just touching on those points that the state felt that they fell short on and did not address the court on during, of course, the affidavits as well as cross-examination of the state witness. So judgment highly unlikely today. We're expecting the matter, of course, to be postponed to a different date for judgment on bail. This, of course, while everything else still unfolds. We know that, for example, Thabo Bester and Dr. Nandipha Magudumana in the main matter have been remanded till the 20th of June. So there may perhaps be enough time for the magistrate to look into the submissions that have been made in this court before making or announcing his judgment.
Yeah, and what would you say, Linda, is perhaps the thrust of the arguments being made here? Is it mostly around whether or not these co-accused are a flight risk? I mean, would you say that's at the center of at least what their defense is bringing forward to the court?
Not necessarily. You'll remember that, they're facing Schedule 5 offences, so the onus would be on them to discharge, of course, reasons as to why, it's in the interest of justice to be granted bail. So what they basically needed to do is meet certain requirements for the court to then make that determination that they are indeed eligible and fit for bail. But most importantly also, will they stand trial, given of course the circumstances that we've seen play out in this matter. For example, Thabo Bester as well as Dr. Nandipha Magudumana, how they were arrested. But those factors really do not apply to them because, it's on a case-by-case basis, really, how they were arrested, what the state's case is against them, where do they live, do they have a permanent address, and the court needs to satisfy itself that should they be granted bail, they will come to court. I mean, for example, the submissions that were made is that, Senohe Matsoara had left the country and had his passport stamped about 16 times. During cross-examination, it later emerged that, in fact, those 16 times mean that he's been out of the country at least 4 times, because when he goes out of South Africa, his passport is stamped twice, and when he comes back, it is also stamped twice. So the defense then submitting to the court that the issue around the fear that this person will run, shouldn't be a factor, that he will indeed, stand trial. He's been cooperating with the police officers and did not, in fact, avoid arrest or, try to run away. So the issue around them being flight risk is really something that is also quite an important factor, but discussed, in this bail application. But also, you'll remember, there are factors like the addresses. In the case of Buti Masugela, for example, he told the court that he lives in this particular house. It's a permanent address that he's been living in for about 16 years. But when the state witness came, who is an investigating officer quite close to the investigation, he told the court that that house, in fact, does not belong to him. It, in fact, belongs to the relatives of the wife, which subsequently does not necessarily mean that, he lives there, and therefore the court should really, look into that kind of evidence with caution. So a number of factors need to be taken by this court before it makes a determination on whether or not the accused or the applicants are eligible for bail.
All right, fair enough. Linda Mnisi, thanks very much indeed. Live to us there from the Bloemfontein Magistrate Court in the Free State.